Good afternoon. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if you're new to the channel, please hit the notification bell. And today, we have ourselves a quality check with the Model 3. So without further ado, let's get right to it. So all right, we have ourselves yet another quality check with the Model 3. And guess what? I got something to measure the gap. So we're gonna measure the gap to see if the gap gets a pass or a fail. And if we're gonna accept this vehicle or not. So let's first off start by examining the left side. And what we wanna look for is that the fender matches the hood and the hood matches the bumper. There's no paint discoloration, scratches, dents, anything that would cause us to not accept this vehicle. So far, it's beautiful. And these are the latest and greatest, just been built from the Fremont factory, just been dropped off. And here are the driver's side wheels. Those are the wheels under your hubcaps. And let's continue on to the driver's side door over here. So beautiful, gaps are nice and tight, and that's what we want to see. Now let's take a look at the interior. See how it's all wrapped up, packaged up, and ready to go. So it's brand new, just been dropped off, still has the stickers on it. And let's do ourselves a quality check with the back. Now, looking over here, they've been building the Model 3 for about 6 years now, so they've been able to ramp up production and build the Model 3 better. I would actually say it's one of the best built vehicles that they have so far. It's far better build quality than the Model Y. So now let's take a look over here. Gap is nice and tight, and that's what we want to see. Over here, nice and tight, that's what we want to see. Now let's remember to measure the charge port door, and it's nice and flush. Now let's go for the lights, and it's flush, beautiful, and that's what we want to see. From the left to the right, beautiful, and that's what we want to see. So there's a paint discoloration over here on the white Model 3, but it looks like they've added a dab of paint to touch that up. So everything looks good. Don't need to measure any gaps over here so far because they look very nice, and I do like what I see. So what Tesla considers in spec is 3 millimeters with gap. Anything larger than 3 millimeters can be corrected, and so make sure to measure your gap and do yourself a quality check whenever you're taking delivery. So I would definitely have to pass this Model 3. So let's move on to another Model 3. All right, so this is the red Model 3 with the upgraded wheels and the white interior. So this is a beautiful spec. I do love this configuration. I find that red is one of the most beautiful color that Tesla has to offer. So taking a look at the left side, looking at the fender, then looking at the hood closely, and then to the bumper. We see no discoloration, and we see no problem so far. Everything looks to be fine. Here's a look at the driver's side wheels. Now let's take a look at the driver's side door. Let's see if the gap is nice and tight, and that's what we want to see. So here's a look at the beautiful white interior. And remember, if you're getting the white interior, you're probably going to need baby wipes. So remember, grab yourself some baby wipes if you plan on getting the white interior. And remember, after you've done a thorough check of the exterior, remember to check the interior. Check the steering wheel, check the seats, check the center console. Make sure you have the new AMD Ryzen chip in there. Check your glove box, check the side doors, then check your glass roof. Then when you're done with the front of the vehicle, move on to the rear seats. Check that the seats fold down. Check that there's no scuffs on your seats. Then move on to your trunk, and then move on to your front. Make sure that everything is in there. And obviously right now you will not be getting the mobile charger because Tesla has decided to do something similar as Apple, is give you the device without the charger. I hope to reverse the decision because I find it's a very vital component, especially if you're in a rural area and you need a charger. You will have to order one off of the site and pay extra. So taking a look over here, this gap is nice and tight, no need to measure, beautiful, and that's what we want to see. I do find that this gap is a little bit too big, and let me measure this gap over here. Take a look and let's measure this gap over here, and what do we get? Okay, so this gap, so it is about 5 milliliters. So yeah, this gap is a little bit too big, and they wouldn't consider this gap in spec. So we do have ourselves a little bit slight issue with this Model 3. Now moving on to the back here, beautiful, and there's a bug magnet. These cars are bug magnets, so I strongly suggest if you're deciding on getting a Model 3 SXY, even a Cybertruck, whenever you get the vehicle, get yourself some paint protection film to protect the paint, the swirl marks, and preserve its value. Now let's move on to the rear. Beautiful. Now on to the right side. You can tell that the right side gap is a little bit better, and if we measure it right here, you can see it is about 2 millimeters, and that's definitely within spec. That is what you want to see. The right side definitely is what you want to see. Taking a look at the wheels, then the doors, then back to the interior, and I will have to give this Model 3, even though that has a slight 5 millimeter gap on the trunk left side, I'm still going to give it a pass because that's the only thing that I see. But I definitely would still bring that up during delivery and have them adjusted. Now let's move on to our final Model 3. All right, so this is our final Model 3 for the evening. It happens to be another white, but guess what? It's the performance. And the way we know it's the performance because it has the Uber turbine wheels. Now let's take a look and let's do ourselves a quality check and see if you get better quality by paying a little bit more. And this is the top of the line performance, the most expensive Model 3 version that you can get. Taking a look at the left side, taking a look at the bumper, and taking a look at the right side. Nothing looks out of place here, and this is a very recent build. It's just been dropped off straight from the Fremont factory, and I can assure you it's very recent. All my quality checks are recent vehicles that just been dropped off of the factory, straight off a delivery truck and into our hands. So that's a look at the interior. Now let's take a look over here to see the door handle, see if it's flush, and let's see if this is flush, and it is. So far, so good. So, okay, so this gap over here, let's measure this gap over here. Let's measure this gap. And yeah, we are getting, okay, so this gap, it's almost 4 millimeters, but it's 3 millimeters, which is within spec. So yeah, gap is fine. And let's check this gap over here. Yeah, it's also 3 millimeters. So definitely within spec, and definitely like what I'm seeing. Remember, if you're getting the performance, check your spoiler. Make sure it's attached on from the left side of the spoiler to the right side. Let's check the light here, and the rear is fine. Now let's check the other end of the spoiler and make sure that it's attached. So, yeah, it is attached and it's perfectly fine. Now let's check the right side. Checking the size of this gap, and it's 3 millimeters. Now let's check the size of this gap, 3 millimeters within spec. And I definitely would say that we're off to a great start with this performance version of the Model 3. So this, I say, will definitely get a pass. We definitely are excited to tell you that the build of the Model 3 definitely seems improving. So if you're interested in ordering a Model 3 SXY, even a Cybertruck, make sure to head over to Tesla.com and order yourself a vehicle today. All right, so that's all I gotta say. So thank you and have a nice day.
Hey, would you like to win a Tesla Model 3? All you have to do is like, share, comment, and subscribe. And one lucky subscriber will win a Tesla Model 3.